Hey everybody, this is the third episode of Conversations with Native Speakers. I'm going to leave the subtitles in Portuguese at the bottom of the screen so that everyone can understand. But my recommendation, as always, is to try your best to not use the subtitles and try to listen to the conversation. The third episode is a very old friend of mine from high school, and his name is Jazz Sosa. And today we're going to talk about high school, what it was like going to an all-boys Catholic high school in New York. Jazz, you want to say hi to the people, all the Brazilian students listening?
Hello, my fellow Brazilians. How you doing?
Jazz and I went to high school together. We graduated the same year. And I mean, the memory that I have, like the first memory that comes to mind with Jazz and I always say this thing, we used to compete with grades in the class. He would get a higher grade and show me, I would get a higher grade and show him, and we would go back and forth like that. We did that for like 1 or 2 years. What's like your first memory when you think back to Salesian?
Well, honestly, I just remember like when I first transitioning from public school to all boys school, I was just mad. You know, I was mad I had to be there. I had longer hair. They made me cut my hair.
That's right. I remember I had longer hair.
Yeah, I had long hair, so I had to cut my hair. That was one of the rules. But yeah, I just remember it was just like a change for me. It was a change that I wasn't really expecting because I wasn't necessarily supposed to go to that high school. My mom just said last minute, you know what, let's go to this high school, and it was an all boys high school. So you know, like as a guy, when you think, oh, you're going to an all boys high school, you're just thinking negative. You're thinking like
it's bad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it was pretty much that. That was my first thought of it initially when I was first going there.
Yeah, and I remember that at that time you were living in New Rochelle, so we were living in the same city at the time.
Yeah, earlier in my childhood, I lived in Hunts Point with my grandma. So I lived there a couple years. Then I lived in New Rochelle, and I grew up majority of my life in New Rochelle, and then I moved back to the Bronx.
One of the rules, you were talking about the rules of high school, like what we had to do, like, and you said they made you cut your hair. Do you remember what other rules that we had to follow? Like we had to wear a uniform.
We had to wear a uniform. I never had a problem with this rule, but some people had to shave. I always had to face in high school, so I didn't need to shave. And yeah,
you got a little bit of masculinity under here, I can see. But
I'm proud of this. This is almost 29 years of work. So yeah, those are some of the rules I remember. Yeah, you just had to pretty much like, you couldn't act crazy, you know, you can be like a menace in the school.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that we had the dean of students,
Yeah,
but I remember that he would come around, right, and he would check on us. Like he'd come into the classrooms,
Yeah, I remember.
And he would look at people if they had the wrong color belt or something, or the wrong color shoes, they would get a detention. What kind of kids did you hang out with? Was it like a specific group? Was it different groups?
No, honestly, I remember, if we're being honest, like the first year, like freshman or sophomore, it was kind of like segregated almost, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't how it was junior year and senior year, when everybody was like really chilling with each other. Freshman year, you know, certain cliques would chill with each other, and I would try to be cool with everybody, you know. When I first went to Salesian, I was in regular classes, meaning just like the basic classes everyone was in. But then going to my sophomore year, I got moved up to like advanced placement classes, honors classes. So from sophomore year to senior year, majority of my time was with those kids who were in AP classes and honors classes. But
That's
still,
right.
you know, I was on the basketball team, so I was always chilling with my boys from basketball. You know, and just I was selling candy. So when
That's right. I remember you were selling candy bars. You were selling Snickers and Skittles and all that. I remember that. I used to buy from you all the time.
Yes, sir. So that actually helped me be in the loop with everybody too.
No one likes school, like no one likes high school, but like I have mostly good memories, but the word that you said that kind of like stuck out to me was the word segregated. And I feel like especially freshman year, there was a lot of segregation. Like there was like racial segregation, there was sports segregation, there was like the nerds were over here, the black kids were over here, the Dominican kids were over here, the Puerto Ricans were over here, right? We had that. It wasn't like the school segregated us.
Oh, yeah.
What about teachers? Do you remember any like specific teachers that like stick out to you, like that was a good memory, a good teacher?
A good, yeah. No, well, in terms of good teacher, I had a couple cool teachers. I used to be cool with Father Abraham.
Yes,
Oh,
that was sophomore year religion class.
yeah, I was cool with him. We used to kick it. I remember who was the other one? Father,
Brother Manny, who's now Father Manny, but yeah, he was Brother Manny back when we had him.
yeah, and we used to play basketball with him. The math teacher too. I don't know if it's Mr. I remember Mr. Castellani at first. That was also my coach. So it was Mr. Castellani, and then
Okay.
who do we have for junior year? Mr. is with a C.
Mr. Celestio.
Celestio. Yeah, that was my guy. That was my guy. I
He
was
was
cool.
cool.
Yeah, he was dope. I was cool with him.
What about like I don't know, I guess what was it like having, I don't know if it was normal for you, but for me it was like a little strange having religion class every day suddenly because like you, I went to public school also before that. So
I think it was different because I was never taking classes. That wasn't like a common class you would take, going from public school either. So when I took that class, I remember it was just like I'm kind of just like, oh, I'm gonna be listening to religion all day. But I think
yeah.
that's why Brother Manny was cool with everybody because he made it in a way where like he'll play basketball with you in recess, and still you have to give him enough respect when he's teaching in class to like at least listen to what he has to say.
So that's true. I remember that, man. I mean, it kind of, in a weird way, it grew on me in religion class. Like at first, I was afraid. I was like, not afraid. I was like, kind of like you, skeptical. Like, oh man, every day I'm gonna have to be like praying, doing this and that. But after a while, you kind of, I think all of our religion teachers were pretty cool. All right, and what about? So that I have these two questions right here. Question one is clowning around. Like, what was the way that we used to clown around when we were in school? Like, did you ever clown around, or were you like an angel in school? Jazz, tell the truth to the people.
Nah, I used to clown at everybody used to clown on everybody. I guess like since you're going to all boys school, there's a lot of things that don't slide if you're going to public school,
Right.
you know? And the fact that everybody was all boys, it's like, you know, it's just there's less restrictions. You don't have to move the same way you would move. Some kids are farting in class. That's something you would never do in public school around girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Right, right.
So
Yeah, that's true.
I guess now it was cool. Yeah, I used to make fun of people. People used to make fun of me, but it's friendly. It wasn't like no bullying. You know what I mean?
Nah. The thing that always comes to my mind is, do you remember what we used to do to people, to kids if they like fell asleep in class? What we would do to their
Yeah.
backpacks and their notebooks?
Used to flip the backpacks, reverse. Yeah, that was messed up. I remember that happened to me a couple times. I was stressed.
Because you'd be sleeping in class, like just sleeping, because they're during the most boring class ever, and then wake up and then your backpack's inside out, zipped up, closed, tied up.
Yeah, and then it was more personal to me because I had like some candy in my backpack sometimes. So now I'm like, who flipped my backpack and who stole my candy? I'm counting
That's
my candy, you know?
and
Like,
did you ever get in trouble in school?
yeah, I got in trouble a few times. It was not. I don't think it was anything serious, but I think it was more of like about the respect part aspect of it. Even with Mr. Molinaro, I remember there's a vivid memory of we was in Miss Osei's class, and
No, my God, Miss Osei.
used to give trouble to Miss Osei, and I just remember he pulled me out of the class one time, and he like tapped me on like my chest, and I was like, don't touch me, like say what you have to say, but don't touch me. And I almost got suspended. My mom came, and she's like, "Well, why are you touching my son?" So
That was the first year. That was the first year of school. Right? I was freshman.
yeah, and then like little fights, or you're about to fight, but nothing crazy.
I remember that. Yeah, that was normal. I think everybody either had a fight or had a bunch of situations where they almost got into a fight, either with the student or with the teacher. One other question I'm going to ask is because a lot of the people who are going to be watching this are going to be like my students or were my students, and they know me, and they always ask me like they want to know about what I used to be like because they only know me as like Teacher Shane. You know what I mean? They know me as Mr. Kelly. That's what they know me as.
Yeah, Shane. First off, he was one of my good friends in school for sure. He's actually, and I'm not saying this to flatter you either, but he's actually like one of the smartest people I know.
Wow,
Like,
man,
yeah,
that's crazy. Oof.
Now with
I didn't
Shane,
know that.
with Shane, it's like he's funny. Like I remember he used to do impressions of teachers. I mean, like spot on impressions. Who's the math of Mr. Was it
Mr.
Schneider?
Schoner.
Schoner, yeah. He used to do impressions of people, and yeah, with Shane, it was like you didn't want to go into like you didn't want to go into a competition in terms of like making fun because Shane was just too witty for you. Like that was for anybody. So I remember.
Man, I'll tell you what, the wittiness got me in trouble more than a few times, for sure. Like, yeah.
But I think that was a good thing though because it was like with you, it's like people, especially teachers, they knew you were smart, so it was like they can accept you like kind of acting foolish sometimes because it's like you were still getting good grades in school, you were still having one of the highest grades in the class, so it's like they really couldn't say much.
But I'm gonna stop the recording. Is there anything that you want to say? Like, bye? You want to say, I'm coming to Brazil? Are you coming to Brazil? That's the big question.
No, oh yeah, I was talking to Delilah. She wants to try to go to Brazil soon, so I might have to catch you sooner than later.
That's it, man.
But
Cool.
I want to say another thing, bro. I'm proud of you with this, bro. This is super dope. Like you teaching people like English, you know, and actually having them understand and things like this actually help students because this is like natural conversation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
but just how to understand lingo, how to understand different dialect or how other people pronounce things or talk a certain way. So this is actually pretty cool, bro.
I appreciate that, bro. Dale, thank you for taking the time out of your night, out of your evening to do this, taking time away from Delilah to chat.
Nah, bro, of course, bro. For you, anything.
Appreciate that, bro.